Okay, 3 cans should get me 4 jars with 40 grams over, right? 2 cans, this one's garlic and herb. It's all mixed up, right? I got a lot of 4 cheeses. Anyway, we're going to get 2 full cans for sure anyway. And then you're left with 180. That's what, 360, right? 360. I don't know. So 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that should be able to top off because you got a little left over. So I should be able to get 8 pint-sized jars with that. So hold on. Okay, so I think I already told you what I was going to do, right? So I'm now opening up these things. And like a silly Billy. Oh, I ain't going to say it. We'll wait and see what happens. I'm going to be collecting some cans for a while, let's just say that. We don't want to encourage anything here, you know. I live in Surrey. Now this is pretty tasty, right? So, I like it. This is just original. It's nothing but tomato sauce. You gotta be careful that you don't slice your tongue. Right. So I'm going to start, I'm just going to start with the original. I opened up the Rotela original. It's interesting. It's actually quite good. I might just throw the whole can into this, right? Just for the sake of it, why not? And then it's not going to matter. It's all tomatoes. You know, when it has chili, it's okay. It will still be fine. And then I'll heat this one up first. And then I'll jar these up, get them in the canner, and then I've got the other 2 jars that I'll do last, because they're different, right? They're garlic and herb. And I'll label the lids before I put them on, right? That's what I'm going to do. And then I am going to good. Oh boy. Oh God, this lid fell down. Come on, we don't want tomato sauce everywhere. There we go. Oh boy. Okay, good enough. And then I'm going to get them in the jars, get them in the canner. I changed the canner. I actually brought out my pressure canner because it's slightly a little bigger. Because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking that other pot can only handle 7, well, maybe it does 8, I don't know. But I want to use, you know, I want to get this stuff done. So I know this one can handle, I think, 9 pint size jars. And I've only got 8 until Tisha gets me some more. And I wouldn't use wide mouth for this. I'd only use regular mouth. And then once I get it in the canner, under 1 to 2 inches of water, right, bring it to a boil. Once it's boiling, just turn it down a tad so it's not over boiling. You don't need to overboil the shit out of it. It's not necessary. And then cover it, what I normally cover my, right? I don't know, 20 minutes? It's only a pint, right? Probably just 20 minutes, that's all it's going to take. and then it will seal. So this will be a very short video, I think, because I don't really have too much to say other than this is what I'm doing. So hold on. See? Okay, so this would definitely be really good for salsa sauce because it's kind of chunky, right? You can see that, right? I didn't know, right? And you can taste the chilies a little bit. You can see that the sauce is more like a liquid versus like a sauce, right? It's good. It's not overpowering. I think I did get a hot. I mean, it's nice, but I'm just going to put it in there. And I don't think that one can, honestly, is going to make much of a difference in terms of taste because it's not hot enough. But for what it's worth, I just wanted to open it up. We knew that I was probably going to recant. I don't know. You know, I mean, you can have things sit in a can with tomatoes for a while, right? It depends. It depends on how often I'd use it, or if it's more practical using it that way, or, you know, like, when I make my own salsa, this would be a nice little top off, I think, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll just leave them in a can. It's hard to say. And then after this is heated up, I'm going to put them in the jars. They're in the oven. I've got it at 235. You can do between 200 or 250. And don't forget, it's going to be in here boiling for 20 minutes, right? We're going to have a harder boil this time, right, than last time. With this was a soft boil. This one we're going to have a harder boil, but it doesn't have to be, you know, going to the moon. And then after this is emptied, then I'll just open up these, heat it up, and fill up whatever jars I have. Actually, I should look around to see if I have one more, because I think that canner can hold 9 of them. Hold on a minute. So I just want to read the basic calorie count on this, because I don't want to say taste the sugar, but I think I can. So for a half a cup of this, right, and I would assume all of it, well, maybe not. With the 4 cheese, it might be more calories. I don't know. I'd have to look. Anyway, for this one, with just herb and garlic, okay, it's 60, for half a cup, it's 60 calories, right? And in terms of nutrients, we've got the potassium at 7%, calcium at 2%, and iron at 4%. And then as for ingredients, well, I don't know. What's the ingredients? Here we go. Water, crushed tomatoes, modified cornstarch to thicken it up. Crushed tomatoes, modified cornstarch, yeah. Sugars, sugar, glucose, fructose, and then dehydrated onions, salt, roasted garlic, and seasonings, citric acid, and natural flavors. Okay? I mean, for the price, it wasn't that bad. And, you know, if it's just for myself and Andre and a little bit for Amari, you know, using a big can isn't necessarily, I don't want to be wasting. You know, this is the time not to be wasting food at all. So, you know, you got to find a way to, you know, find a way to, because you know how sometimes you open up those jars and you put them in the fridge and they get moved to the back and you forget about them, and, you know, and yeah, they got preservatives in them and usually they're okay, but, you know, and you end up just chucking it, right? Like, so then I'm not apt to open it, right? I just let it sit there. Or this way, I got my noodle makers. I got different kinds. I got those ones up there that are electric. 2 are electric. 1 is hand cranked. whatever. And then I've got that Asian one that I bought that's looks like a spider. Or something like that, a centipede or something, right? And it's really, really sturdy. And then we've got that other one that makes that German Schnascherl or whatever it's called. Right? So, you know, I think a pint-sized jar would just be better. And I just know that these cans don't hold up to the test of time. So that's why when I bought those Classic Kilo at $2.50 a jar, I bought a whole whack of them, right? And in a situation like that, because they've been sitting for a while, when you open the jar, you may very well find that oxidization under the lid, right? Remember I telling you? Sometimes when things sit in a jar for a long time, right? Tomatoes is one of them. They will get oxidized underneath the lid, and it will be black, and you'll be like, oh my God, it's no good. No, that's not true. Okay? If it was all through the jar, then yeah. But if it's just at the top, no. That's because the jar's been sitting a long time, and it just oxidizes. So I prefer to have tomatoes in jars. That's why I'm doing this. Right. And because I'm making them a fairly decent size, where it's basically, you know, it's probably going to be just enough for one meal, right? By the time you're all said and done, but you can add in extra tomatoes or whatever, peppers or whatever you want, right? You know. Now, I am going to stock up on some of these. I would not recan that, but I will stock up on a few of them. So maybe I'll buy like 24, and you know, you take one of these and one of those, mix them together, and you're good to go, right? Or whatever. I don't normally cook with it, but again, I don't necessarily. Oh, here's that cheese. I don't necessarily trust my government. Well, I don't trust my government. Forget the necessary part. Necessarily part. Forget that. I don't trust them. Not at all. I know how they operate. You gotta keep stirring it. Get it off the bottom. No. If you buy them in the jar on sale at $3.50 a jar, then you don't need to do this, right? But I don't need to buy in a jar because I have a whole bunch of jars. But I just wanted a little extra, and these were reasonably priced compared to all the other ones. And I knew I was in the kitchen anyway. Not a big deal. Now, if I was to do it again, to which I don't plan to anytime soon, then I'd take it one step higher, and I'd do maybe a case of quartz. That would be for the day when I'm actually talking to my son again and his girlfriend, and they're making dinner, and they're going to feed me. And instead of grabbing two of these, they can just grab one. But that's not on my list of things to do, because this year I'm going to spend a fair amount of time out in the yard. I said I was going to finish up the yard, and that's what I'm going to do. Assuming I can still see what I see now. That's why I'm working really hard, as fast as I can, to get these few little things done. And it's almost like I'm going out of my way to piss myself off, so I don't want to do it when I'm done. In other words, start over again. I'll be, no, unless of course I come across some good deals with some good meat. Other than that, but I am thinking, honestly, I don't ever stop thinking, right? You know, through my reading, right? If you Google preserving beef fat, you don't really find anything other than everybody says you have to freeze it. So when I was getting my beef fat and I was rendering it, I was freezing it. I have like a lot of frozen beef fat. But through my reading, you know, with comments on YouTube and that kind of thing, somebody apparently did can beef fat. And it held up. So I might attempt to do that. Just to see. Because you can can pork lard. Apparently chicken lard canned is indefinite. I didn't know that till recently. And I guess beef lard too. So I'll probably try that when I'm in the summertime. Just have some on hand outside of the freezer, right? Just to see how well it holds up. And in a situation like that, well, I might pressure can it, but I wouldn't pressure can it for 75 minutes, that's for sure. Because beef fat doesn't like, it's not as hearty as pork fat, I find. But I might do it for 10-15 minutes or whatever, hot into the jars, into hot jars, into a hot canner, and then maybe pressure can for 10-15 minutes just to give that good seal. And just see what happens, because, you know, I mean, what's the worst case scenario? It goes into the compost, right?
The construction industry is also struggling with the drastic price increases for many raw materials.
But that's not anytime soon.
These include important aggregates. So
as this is heating up, you gotta keep stirring. My jars are in the oven, so I'm stalling for some time because I'm sterilizing them that way because they're brand new, right? If I had used them before, I'd boil them first, then put them in the oven, or just straight out from the canner. In a situation with like this, I could just take them straight out of boiling water, put them here, fill up my jars. But these are brand new jars to which I washed, and they went into the. Don't forget, you're also boiling for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, depending on what size jar you're doing, right?
Okay, you really want to do this.
we're talking about a lot of stuff here.
So that's getting to the point where it's almost ready to go. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward, right? I'm doing about, I don't know, that's about 3/4 to a half an inch or so. Okay? And I'm going to put on these ones here Rotela with original pasta sauce. Okay? And then, what do you call it? I won't label these until they come out, but the next batch I'll put garlic and, like, I'll put GH for garlic and herb, so I'll know, right? So hold on a minute. Okay, so out of those 8 cans, this is what's left, which is maybe a jar. Not quite, maybe. I don't know. I don't have one to put in right now because I used my last jar. There's, for these ones, that is. I mean, I could get a different pint size, but I don't want to right now. There's 8 of them in there. They're 500 ml. I don't know what that is in grams, because there was 8, I used 8 cans at 680 grams, right? Isn't that what I read per can? Hold on a minute, let me go double check. Okay, 500 mil. That's 500 mil. This is supposed to be 680 mil. Okay, that's what it says, ml. So that's mil, right? Well, yeah, this can, it looks bigger than it is. You know that, eh? Like, it really does. Either or. Whatever. Now, I did bring the cheese one just to see if the calorie count is a little higher. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see right now. The other one was 70 for the original, or was it the herb and garlic? I mean, I would think those ones would be the same, right? Pretty much. This one should be a little higher because of, you know, you gotta pay attention, seriously. You really gotta pay attention to the labels, because this says 4 cheese. We all know that cheese is higher in calories, but for whatever reason, there's only 60 calories to a half a cup. How is that possible? 60 calories to a half a cup where there's supposed to be cheese. Let's read the ingredients. Water, crushed tomatoes, sugars. There you go. That's where your calories are coming in from, because I can taste it. Sugar, glucose, fructose, modified cornstarch, salt, cheese blends, Romano, Parmesan, ricotta, and mozzarella. Well, I would say if that's in there, it's in very minute portions, like extremely minute. They're selling you the name before I think they're selling you the product, because the other one was 70 calories and it didn't have cheese in it. And tomatoes don't have that much calories. So where are they getting their calories from? It kind of boils back down to the corn, where it's the same brand, right? It's Western Family, eh? Where this cream corn has 110 calories, but Green Giant cream corn only had what? What was it? 70 or something? Or 50 or 60? Like, it was almost half, right? Because they don't have as much sugar in it. But for what it's worth, for what I'm going to use it for, it's a good base. So I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, when you're buying this stuff, and if you're thinking to do stuff like this, you might want to stop and think about it, right? Because, you know, when you're buying like the brand name of the store, like Great Value, Western Family, or whatever, right? You know, it's deceiving people. Like, I'm like, 4 cheese, how am I going to can that? Because it's not like I was doing Alfredo sauce before I bought that stuff, right? So, now I have no problem, right? I'm not afraid now. But with less calories than the other can, what did you put in? Half a teaspoon of cheese blends per can? Just so that you could put it on the label so that people would be more apt to buy it? I'm just saying. And maybe used a little bit of mustard seed crushed up to make it taste like it had the cheese. Because if you notice, I put the cheese in, I put the mustard seed in when I put in the cheddar cheese. Yeah, to enhance the flavor. Okay, so now we're going to cover it up. I just used this. It's a nice, beautiful pizza pan. Isn't that a nice, beautiful pizza pan? Oh my God. on top of my canner. Nothing fancy. And bring it to a boil. Once I hear it boiling in there, I usually have it at around 8, right? I don't like it on 9. I don't like that. Probably at about 8. And I'll do that for 20 minutes. That's it. And then turn off your canner. Leave your lid on for 5-10 minutes. Take off your lid. Let your jars sit for a few more minutes. And then bring them out. And that's enough for today. That's 8 jars of tomato sauce with a whole lot of sugar. And 6 jars plus 7 in the fridge, almost full, of cheesy cheddar Alfredo sauce. And I've got this here, which I should just... Andre had this puking flu last night, so I'm not going to feed him tomatoes tonight. No. So what I'll do is I guess I'll find another jar, or I'll put it in a pot or something, and I'll put it in the fridge, and tomorrow I'll make some spaghetti or something, and I'll use that. That will work pretty good, because it's tasty, you know, for what I paid for it. But next time I go out, you know, I'm going to be curious to look at the back of the similar jars like that from different brands, just to read the ingredients. And the calorie count. But otherwise, I'm satisfied. You know, I'm not no queen here. And even the queen herself, when she was alive, I have a cookbook from the palace. She just liked plain old sugar syrup. Yeah, nothing fancy. It was just made from sugar and water, basically. And if you wanted to, you could use grape juice. So yeah, if I can keep a steady pace like that for the next month, minus a few days off here and there, I can't do this every day. I got other things I have to do. I get caught up with laundry and stuff. I got to work outside a little bit, right? But in the meantime, well, that's there now for 20 minutes. I gave it 22 minutes. I don't know. It was on sale. Stock up when you can. Right? Put it in a jar. It will sit for years. The darker, the deeper the chocolate, the better it is. Right? I wasn't in the mood to be buying chocolate that day. But I seen them. They were at Walmart. So I picked up a couple little packs. 4 of them, that was all. And it's enough to fill up 2 jars. Pretty well. I suppose I can do it again. Right? Which I probably will. And then I'll just transfer jars, right? I just find that get things out of the plastic bag, I'm telling you. I've had chocolate stored like this for years, and then I'd pull out a big thing. In those days, you used to be able to buy them in bulk, right? Just be eating chocolate for like a month. It gave myself a headache. I ate so much chocolate. Yeah. So, just a little here and a little there, and when I use this creamy, you can, I guess, mix in chocolate. Or whatever. Let's see. There's something going on in my house, or I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've noticed it. And Andre, I pointed it out to Andre too. And I don't know if it's my house, and there's something going on with the house, where it's affecting the plastic, because the bags are like, I don't know, they're weird. Like they're, a lot of them are swelling for no reason other than. Bags that normally wouldn't swell, right? Now, mind you, I've been doing like a steady pace of, like, I'll show you. We went through this before. Look at this. I went through this with the barley. The barley came in practically vacuum sealed. By the time I went to go do what I needed to do with it, the bag swelled out. This is the same thing. This is brown rice. What the hell's going on? Why? Since when? Okay? Since when? This wasn't like this when I bought it. Is it something that's maybe my house is... What? What do you think it is? It's weird. Anyway, this is brown rice, long grain brown rice, to which in the next couple of 2-3 weeks, whatever, I'm going to cook up some of it, a lot of it, a fair amount of it anyway. And after it's cooked, I'm going to dehydrate it. And then I guess that's kind of how you make instant brown rice. Just saying. Oh, what did I do with those things? Oh, no. I wanted those things. I'm not paying attention. I told Andre, when we move from here, the first thing Nana's going to be looking for is a proper porch. Oh, yeah. Most definitely. So, yeah, that's on about 8. You can hear it. So just let it run. It's 22 minutes. Got 18 minutes more. I'm just getting all this miscellaneous crap. Now, I don't can with citric acid. I have, I think it's absorbic acid, which is a vitamin C acid. If I want to, like, do pears or something, and I want to put it in water, and I'm pretty sure you can put it into food, or this you can obviously can with, right? Pure, fine grain.
No.
Don't ask me how to use it, because it's not something that I
No, I'm dead.
rely on. But maybe we'll,
Some idiot just blew me off the edge.
I don't know, I'll do some research up on it, and maybe we'll experiment with it, being that these companies seem to use it. I came into 3 products, right? The Alfredo sauce had citric acid in it, the tomato sauce had citric acid in it, and Dole was using citric acid and nothing else but citric acid to preserve its fruit. To which this machine can't use because it's so caustic. Like, it's like, you know, it eats things, right? So if that's the case, how good is it for you, even though it provides vitamin C? Just saying. Alright, we're going to think about those things, because companies are cutting back where they can. You know, they got rid of the sugar to try to make it sound like they were being healthy, when in fact not necessarily so, right? They're just trying to save themselves money, right? Because at the end of the day, you know I'm going to be adding sugar to that fruit, whether I recan it or what. I don't know. I have to wait and see when I get to it. Okay, so I'm just taking miscellaneous things and jarring them up. That's what those jars are for, so I can clear this all out of here, because my food prep days are coming near to an end in terms of that hardcore. Right. Hold on. Okay, so I'm done this video. They're out now. That didn't take very long at all. However, I was thinking, now I don't know what the milliliter was in terms of those jars that were selling for almost $5 a jar. Probably a little less than the can.
He's alive.
Andre, stop. However, I'm using new jars right now. So by the time I pay for the jars, pay for the food, and can it, I'm not really saving any money. Because those cans are deceiving. They look large compared to all the other cans. Right? So this looks large compared to this can, right? You know, sure, break my brand new machine I haven't even used yet. Anyway, you can see. So just by that in itself, it makes you feel like you're getting a good deal, even though they're cheating on the calories by exaggerating what's in the product. I'm just saying, people. Or they're fooling the public by making them think that they're getting a whole lot of calories when in fact those calories are coming mainly from sugar. I'm just saying, people. Okay, this is why home canning, you tend to have a little more control of what goes inside the jar. Okay? Anyway, the thing about jars, though, once you have them, you have them. And if you stock up on lids, which I have tons and tons of lids around, okay? I did that last year. And I've been kind of using new jars regularly right now because, you know, I'm topping off with this, topping off with that, and okay. But once you start going through your jars, like I told my son, you can go in there, you can use what you want, just when you're done with the jar, put it back pretty much where you got it from. Because, you know, right? And then as it gets less and less, we'll shift things around, take out the jars that are empty and whatever. So, in the meantime, that's not what I'm doing though, right? Right now I'm just getting ready to make noodles and have my sauce, or, you know, or make pizza and have, you know, I'm not going to be wasting that much or whatever. Just, okay. So once I use the jars, I will again do something similar, providing that I can see. Like I said, I've been kind of handed down a death sentence. My eyes could blink out tomorrow for all we know, people, like seriously. But assuming that I can see this time next year, whatever jars I use, I can reuse. So that's where the savings come in. Otherwise, if you buy a classic Hio, which I don't have handy here right now, depending on the lid, if it has the button in the side, in the middle of it, right? So when it pops, you push, it goes. Those ones apparently you can recan with. Otherwise, you're hooped, right? They're just maybe good for storing dry goods in, okay? Where these ones, you know, for a pack of rings, like the lid, right? Depending on where you get them, if you can catch them on sale or in the dollar store or whatever, you can get them anywhere from between $2 and $4 for 12. Compared to maybe anywhere between $15 to $18 for a case of jars that comes with lids. So in that situation, if I was using old jars that I'd already had emptied, I'd have more savings than what I've got right now. However, what's in these jars can sit for years, even if they oxidize. Whereas in a can, I put this jar sitting longer than a can any day, outside of it maybe popping. And I've never had a can of tomatoes pop yet that I'm aware of. But I have had the oxidization underneath it, and a couple of my jars I made the mistake of leaving my rings on And because of that, they started rusting underneath. And one actually was so compromised, it just took a curtain hook to poke a hole without any real pressure because the rust ate through the lid. That's why I chose to get the lug lids when I do the salsa sauce, to try and just see. Right? So I got 4 cases of them, but they're not really that big, I don't think. I haven't opened up the case to look at the jars per se, but it's okay. It'll be something different, right? So there, I'm done. Oh, yes, and I wanted to... Now, this has been inside the fridge. This is what I made this morning, okay? Now, I have been going like this off and on. I'm going to stop now. Was it necessary? I don't know. I did this one once or twice, you can see. I just canned this morning, so I am just going to take a spoonful just to get an idea. It's really, really cold. Okay? Now, if you didn't flip it back and forth, I don't think we'd have this problem, so I'm going to do this again, so maybe next time I won't flip it, and we'll just see how it manages. Okay, because honestly, in the canner, I mean, like in storage, I don't know if I want it on my lid like that. I'm just saying. It'll be okay, it's sealed, but I just don't know if I'd want that. If I can avoid that, I'm going to avoid that. So the only way to avoid that is not do this. Okay? But we don't know how it's going to settle. Okay? Now, through my reading and listening and everything, do you see this in here? It's a little bit of an air pocket. Apparently, when you're dealing with cheeses like this, that happens. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Because it starts to solidify. Right? Now remember, when you heat it up, it's going to moisten up. Right? Right now it's quite thick. But I think we knew that was going to happen because of the cheddar cheese, right? Tastes like cheese, people. Honestly, the one block is fine just the way it is. Don't ask me what the calorie count is, but I bet you it's pretty high. And in this day and age, you want that. Because companies, I'm telling you, they're not all what they crack themselves up to be. Okay? So pay attention when you're buying things. And ask yourself where the calories are coming from. And ask yourself where the vitamin C is coming from. Wow. I mean, if you're using a little bit of citric acid, I suppose, as a preserving agent, then maybe I could see it a little bit. But if that's all you're using, I don't know. And even then, I try to avoid it. I would, like, you know, good old lemon juice in a lemon bottle, you know? That's the best when it comes to that kind of stuff. Or vinegar, right? Finally, I get a coffee. Oh my God, it's 7:30 at night. I have been here like all day since, I don't know, 9 o'clock this morning. I started washing dishes even before then. But I'm done. Look at that. That's pretty nice. I like that. That's, like I said, that will sit for years. Just make sure you take off your rims. Put it in a cool, dark place, and they're good to go. And these are shelf stable too, for the most part. A couple years anyway, if not longer. But I don't plan on leaving them on the shelf for too long. I plan on actually using them. That's why I'm doing it. Right? As well as that. Just for convenience purposes. That's enough to make 2 pizzas. Right? That's enough to make some spaghetti with some sauteed vegetables and throw in a couple of my tomatoes that are growing in War Room 1 and we're good to go. Okay, so round 2. It's only one. Oh, geez, no, it's not. It's 4:30. Ugh. Either or. Those are done. I'm not washing them till tomorrow. Although I've been going like this, but you know what? When I was filling up my jars, I should have been stirring that in between filling up my jars to keep things mixed up based on when you do butter, right? You know, you kind of want to do that. Otherwise, you're going to get more of the ghee in this jar, less in this jar, more over, you know, right? Whereas, yeah, so just try and remember that. In between filling up your jars, give your pot just a little stir just to make sure everything is still mixed up. Okay, because butter likes to separate when it's hot, eh? All right, but they still attract each other's molecules, right? Butter likes butter, cream cheese likes cream cheese, and, you know, and so on and so on. I'm like so tired, you don't even know. Okay, so this is how you do it. You just chip away at it a little at a time. I figure 1 can, well, I don't know. Oh, how many mils? 6, oh, okay. If this is 500 mils, if that's 500 mils, this says it's 680 mils. So we'll just round it off at 705 to... So those there, oh, I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. I wanted to open this up and taste it. This one's just the original one, and then I've got hot and spicy too. And I can just mix it in with either all of it, because I'm just going to throw this, if you notice, these are the same kind. I have the 4 cheese, I have garlic and herb. These were coming in at $2.58 a can, which is better than buying a jar, probably a little less than that, if not, well, yeah, about the same amount, maybe a little less, for $5 and over, depending on the brand, right? So I saved myself at least half by buying it in a can. And yes, I know you're getting, you know, you're having to pay for jars and blah, and or lids or blah, but I already have like a whole bunch of this downstairs. Up where Auntie Shemay's piano is. I bought it like 2 years ago at $2.50 a jar, classic EO, with the lug lids, so they should be fine, right? I just can't get to them. And, you know, this is smaller size, right? That's what I just want. And I don't trust what our governments are doing, so. Okay, so all I have is the 4 original, and I do want to do 8 jars, so maybe I should get, oh my God. I don't want to have any leftover piling up in my fridge. Oh, I'll have to think about this. Hold on.